Now I bring you a wonderful highlight of the auction as the page turns, and appropriately talking about fashion, because that's what the Hooray Poupée was all about. It was all about fashion. You know, when I was preparing for this series of talks today, I was thinking, you know, this auction is full of dolls that would be like a signature dolls, important dolls to have. If you could pick the 100 most important dolls that you would want to have one of each to have in your collection, to have a very significant one, certainly the Hooray Poupée would be one of them. An English wooden would be one of them, and a Brew would be one of them. So many of the items in this particular presentation are dolls that fit that category. But right now, let's talk about the Hooray. Now, why was the Hooray so important? Well, first of all, she was important because she was now bringing in and introducing a new style of doll to the world. She was made of porcelain and or bisque. Hooray made them in both ways. And she had a very innovative and unusual body made of gutta percha, which was a very, very luxury and expensive product and material at the time. Essentially, gutta percha is, I hate to use this word because it always kind of to me cheapens it, but it was a form of rubber, and it was modeled to represent almost an older child's body. It wasn't a lady, it was an older child. So there's a plumpness and a roundness to it. So very unique body. Many collectors today feel very privileged if they're able to find a Hooray at all, and to find one with the original gutta percha body, which this one has, is very, very wonderful. What is great about her is her expression. Look at this doll, made by Adelaide Hooray, about 1860. She is fabulous. And she comes with a complete trousseau, which is to dream of also. She's wearing a dress that was commonly known as the mode enfantine dress. In other words, child style, with a fitted little bodice, a very dainty dress always, not a lady kind of fashion, but a childlike dress in this beautiful, delicate cotton fabric with wonderful little details of construction on the sleeves, on the bretelles coming down the side, on the tucking at the front. And look at this wonderful little piece she's wearing in her hair. This is a very, very stunning, stunning doll. Now for her trousseau, it all comes housed in this early wooden box with the original paper, and albeit the paper cover on it is quite worn, to me that's very pleasing and desirable. It's worn nicely, and it is its age. It is what it is. Her trousseau is quite fascinating because, kind of like our wonderful wooden doll we just showed, this trousseau shows that this beautiful little doll was likely owned by the same family for about 15 or 20 years, because it has dolls, has costumes which cover that time era. And we definitely know they were hers originally because, for example, we have this wonderful costume with a brown velvet coat, these wonderful pagoda sleeves, fur trim, signed Hooray. The costume itself is signed Hooray. And this would be from her early period. And on the other side, we have a blue woolen fashion dress with fitted waist, definitely a lady's costume, definitely designed to be a lady, not a child anymore. And let me show you a little detail of that. Here's the detail in the back with all of the bustle work. And what can I tell you about this dress? It's signed Hooray also. So definitely acquired at the Hooray boutique, but perhaps 10 to 15 years after the original doll was bought. So the family had the doll, cherished it, and continued to visit the boutique and buy more costumes and accessories for her doll. Other costumes we have are this beautiful piece right here with its interwoven fabric. Let me turn it around, you can see the best. This one is not a signed piece, but it is from the early period in both that fabric and style of costume. Have this wonderful cape, fully lined, stay over there, the fully lined cape with plaid on the inside. Scottish plaid was so popular in fashions of the 1800s. I think there was this great intrigue with the whole Scottish thing, and I think a lot of that came out of Queen Victoria. Look at how this is constructed with the hood in the back that can be brought up to form a hood or can be worn low on the back. Very, very interesting piece. And then we have many other accessory pieces. Let me move a couple of these costume pieces so they don't fall over on me. And let me show you some things that are, to me, are kind of exciting. All right, where are you? In an original signed box, signed Maison Hooray, we have a woven shawl. In its own original little cardboard case, signed Maison Hooray, we have a fur muff, which certainly is a wonderful piece to wear with this brown suit, but still preserved in its original signed Hooray box. And then she has 3 pair of shoes, and where are you? I just moved you. Right here, we have, see the bottom first of all, signed Hooray on the bottom of the shoes, and they're little black slippers, all hand stitched. And then she also has her boots, which are not signed Hooray, but I want you to see the construction. I'm going to hold them next to the construction of the shoes so you can see it was a very, very typical type of workmanship that was done by Hooray. And I don't know if Hooray did these. I'm sure they had a shoemaker that made them for them, and some bearing their name, and others did not bear the Hooray name. But definitely, when I catalog them, I always call them in the Hooray manner, because they definitely are. These have wonderful little tassels on them. And then she also has, I love these, I'm going to put these on right now and go take a rest. These little hand-woven slippers, look at that. They look so comfortable with a little yarn decoration on the front. It's all these wonderful needlework and all fully lined, cozy. She has other wonderful accessories like this fabulous hat, wire framed so it would fit to her head, and then the cascading little crystal pieces coming down, little teardrops. Wonderful piece. She has a set of jewelry on its original card. She has a tiny little papeterie filled with little stationery. Tiny piece. And she has her little sewing necessaire with the purple velvet trim. She has, oh, I could just go, oh, I love this piece. Look at this one. In case she's going to the carnival, she has her custom fit party mask to wear. What people don't, you think about Barbie dolls today and how a child buys a Barbie doll, that's only the beginning because the costumes, the accessories, everything that come with it. That's where Mattel was really making their whole motivation. And that's what Hooray was doing. You bought the doll. The doll was expensive, yes, but after that, the child wanted to keep coming back and back and back, year after year, season after season, to buy another costume, to buy another accessory. And we have all of these things here. She has a little pair of dogs she owned, a parasol, lots of underwear, even a porcelain bidet. So many wonderful things. And this is not part, this is also being sold at the auction, but it's a separate lot, is this wonderful desk. And I'm going to show you this. We have some great furniture pieces in this auction. But this desk is most fascinating. When we sold the famous Blondinette doll from its original estate many, many years ago, there was an antique photograph that came with Blondinette, vintage photograph taken at the original time the doll was made, about 1860. And with it, they had her sitting out in the garden on a chair like this, next to a wooden desk. And when I realized this, I went back and got the book Blondinette, and I'm staring at it through a magnifying glass, trying to stare at that photograph to see if this was the exact same style of desk that was sold. And yes, it is in every single regard, except this one has wonderful marquetry work on, I'll hold this up so you can see it, on the front panel, on the sides, and on the top. And the other one was a plainer wood. So my question at the time, and I posed this in a Facebook posting, I wanted people's comments, did they think that this was sold also at Maison Haré? Possibly, because she certainly did carry wooden work from other makers, and also a lot of people suggested, and I certainly find a lot of credence in this, that it would have been offered by the very luxurious Maison Giroux of Paris, which was not a doll shop, but a luxury goods shop for decorative arts and furniture, and they sold many luxurious small wooden pieces that were doll size. So either one of those of the same time period, but coming from the same collection, and the desk has always been displayed with a doll. And finally, one other lot from the auction, and this again is sold separately, but I want to show you. Look at this. In its original box, you can see the label on the box, Maison Haré. And then in the box is a wonderful original costume by Maison Haré, and I'm going to show you, let me show you separately. Here's the little fitted jacket, front and back, with a wonderful shaping of those sleeves, just absolutely designed to accommodate to the doll. And because I can now have access to this, since she's not wearing it, and it's not, I can show you when you can find signature on the Haré clothing. This is generally where you'll find it, on the waistband. It's just a blue stamp, Haré à Paris. And here it is in her original box, and that's a wonderful separate lot in this auction. I'm really pleased to be able to offer this doll. We have so few Haré bébés or Haré poupées that become available these days, and to find them in this wonderful condition it's just a joy. I could keep digging in here and showing you other great treasures, but if you're the new lucky owner, you can have the fun of finding them yourself. So while we were talking about the wonderful desk that is owned by Madame Haré, as she sits next to it with her lovely trousseau, and here's the desk right here. I left it for you so you could have it as kind of a scale of size compared to the other pieces of furniture. Remember, she was perfectly suited to sit next to the 17-inch lady doll, so you can see how the other pieces would be. And so then I wanted to show you, we have some great furniture pieces in this auction, and I love early doll furniture. Some of it was made particularly to be, its origin was to be a plaything for a child, to play with their dolls. And others were matrice models. That is, they were made by master cabinet makers who usually made people-scaled furniture, and they would make a miniature version, and sometimes they took it as like a traveling piece to shows to tell people, here's the type of work we do. And other pieces, they made it under special commission for wealthy families for their child. So we have some great pieces here I wanted to share with you. Usually we'll wait a year before we'll have one or two good pieces like this, but we're pretty lucky here. So here is a great piece. I love this. And I want you to look at it in terms of, look at the detailing of the inlay. There's some wonderful designs of animals and scenery, different inlays of wood, and even onto the sides. You're seeing the front. Now let me just show you the sides. Continues around. And sometimes people say to me, oh, I wanted to see the back of that furniture. Okay, let me show you the back, which is plain. But they wanted to see how it was constructed, I think. And here's the other side. And on the top, there are two little chicks speaking to each other. I don't want to tip it too much so the drawers will come out. Okay, and we have then the drawer front that as soon as I unlock it, we open up, and you can see that it opens up to become a drop front secretary or desk. It's a wonderfully constructed piece and so unique with this inlay design, particularly the particular one here of the man talking to his dog. It's like has a French horn. I think when I looked at it. Got a marquis cap on a hat, a bicorn hat, and he's the marquis, and he is playing a flute for his dog, who is listening intently and probably wishing he would throw a ball instead. So now I can get to and have access to a few more pieces. And let me move this out of the way too, since we have already looked at it. Did we open it up? And you could see the inside of this as well. And this was the piece that was next to Blondinette, not Blondinette, but the Theriault doll. Great piece. Okay, we'll move her over too. I put this automaton here because I wanted you to see, number one, the scale of a particular doll that goes with this furniture, but also I wanted you to see how when really luxury automatons were made, we tend to look at the doll, we tend to look at the music, we tend to look at the movements, but in this instance, I wanted you to actually look at the quality construction of the furniture. It is absolutely wonderful. Little carved bone keys with ivory. What are these? I mean, with black ebony. I don't know what those are called. The black things on a piano keyboard. You'll all know what they are. And it has the tri-arm ormolu candle holders coming out. It has a little music sheet. Under this floral bouquet is a gilt ormolu urn that's holding these wonderful flowers. And the wood itself, ebony and rosewood and inlays and just extraordinary. And then we have the wonderful girl. All right, and she is working back and forth, turning her head side to side, music's playing, and moving her fingers over the keyboard. So a little diversion on showing you piano. Here's another great piece. And this particular one has the original store label on the side from Au Paradis des Enfants. It has the original label of the store from which it was sold. A wonderful French toy store, Paris toy store for children. Now, this little piece, unfortunately, has had some wear where the door is kind of gotten warped, which I guess could be fixed by a good cabinet maker, but I wanted to close it so you could see all of the inlay and hand-painted designs on the outside of the cabinet. And then the drawer hinges down. We see the porcelain wash set inside. And then on this side, when it opens up, we see it is fitted with wonderful linen, ribbon-tied linens, and some other accessories. And then here we have some doll bonnets up here. This is a wonderful, wonderful piece, and so impossible to find these anymore. It's just impossible. When I started going to France like 30 years ago, you could occasionally find these pieces, and now they have all but disappeared. It's just a great piece. We have this wonderful grandfather clock, which does have a key. I don't know if it works or not, and I don't like to ever sell a clock as working because it might not be to your satisfaction. I think, however, as a display piece with a French fashion or a little bébé, this is fine cabinetry work with wonderful inlay. Does have its key. And then we're going to turn it. You can see the back side. I love the workmanship on this. When you look at the wood around the front of the clock, the brass frame of the clock, you tend to think that's carving, but it's not carving. It's all inlay to give a carving effect. A wonderful piece. And then we have, well, let me stop and show you this because this is pretty special. This is known as the Clapham Chair. And you know the very famous wooden dolls, the Lord and Lady Clapham, that are at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, they are posed sitting in an exact chair matching this. And about 8 others of these chairs are known to exist, obviously made in the early 1700s by an English cabinet maker. And again, these were probably a salesman's model that the cabinet maker would show someone that was commissioning a full-size chairs for their dining room or library. And this was a doll-size model that was made. This is has a hole here and a hole in the seat. But what's rare about it is to find it with the original caning still in it. It's extraordinarily rare, even on top of how rare and wonderful a doll is. Let me show you the side. and the back. And this has a carved letter M at the crest, which remains a mystery as to its meaning. It's a very rare, very, very rare piece of early doll furniture to find. We can move over here. And then we have another wonderful cabinet, French cabinet, and this is an important piece to have because look at the inlay on the outside. Fabulous inlay on both doors. It has a little drawer that opens on the bottom, which is filled with wonderful ribbon-tied linens. Look at the hardware on it. It's very different. And when the doors open, just look at that. Look at the shape of the doors, for one thing. And inside, completely fitted with all of the wonderful ribbon-tied linens. I love these pieces. Now I'm going to show you the side of this, because just as in the other one I told you that's not carving, it's just inlay to look like carving. On the side of this piece, it's carved. This is all carving down the side on both sides. And here is the back of it as well. It's a wonderful piece. I have two other pieces here to show you that I couldn't fit onto the table. This is a wonderful dressing table. Bottom piece is very simply constructed because it was designed to be covered. Let me move the chair so you can see this better. The bottom is very simple because it was designed to be covered with this lace, and this is the original. This is brass around the top here, a spool brass trim around the top, and then the brass attached hinged mirror that can pivot back and forth, and then the lace-covered dressing table with all of the ladies' toiletry articles. It's a wonderful piece. And we have also to show you this wonderful, this was sold in department store catalogs, and it's here, ladies' dressing table. Very simple construction, but the lovely thing is when you flip it open, inside you find all of the still, in their case, French toiletries for bébé or poupée. And one final piece to show you from the furniture. I love this furniture. You can tell I do. This was a very popular style in French furniture about 1850 or 60, and this is now in a doll size, and we've shown it with like a 26-inch doll, and it really looks nice. So it's the ebony finished wood, and then hand painted floral decoration, this very exuberant colors and exuberant full bouquet, and then the gilt trim on it. And it's a tilt-top table, so, and when you decide to tilt it over to put things on, you just tilt it this way. Beautifully done.